Yo, Facebook, how goes it? Well, that sucks. Ben Dobbins says he's hungover. Well, Ben Dobbins, might I recommend drinking a soda if you're hungover? Might I recommend Sprite? Believe it or not, Sprite does prevent hangover, or it doesn't prevent hangovers, but it cures them. You think I'm joking? This is a tip I learned from watching Tasted with Noah Galutin and all his buddies. And they were just like, you should drink Sprite to relieve a hangover. And I'm like, I'll have to try it out sometime. And then one particular morning, I woke up with like a nasty hangover. And as soon as I got to a point where I could drink some Sprite, I drank it, and it took a little bit, but it went away pretty much. I don't know what it is in Sprite. Is it the sugar, the carbonation? But there you go. Just got me bloody pipe unclogged. About to load up some fresh Kentucky Selects. Gatorade does help too, according to Jeffrey Henry. There you go. And if you find it hard to sleep at night, that does happen to me on occasion. I'll be up and sometimes till like 3 or 4 in the morning, but at least I'm quiet about it, and being fair that it is the weekend, you know. Sometimes you just sit and bullshit on the internet for a minute, and then okay, done doing that. Okay, cool. Take shit. Do whatever, you know. Yep. That's the only sucky thing about alcohol, is it can give you hangovers, and you can get too drunk and do stupid shit or black out and just, you know. That's really the only downside to drinking, is unfortunately is some of the alcohol doesn't exactly taste the best, but it gets you to that point. Yeah. There's definitely a cute chick I want to ask out on payday, but I got to be professional about it. Either way you shape it. To be like, hey, you want to grab drinks with me after work or something, you know, when I get off or whatever. Yeah. That's if I see her, you know. Casper's a pretty big town, so if I run into her around town, then Yeah, because we got separate jobs, and you know, which is good to have. It doesn't matter what the job is, as long as, then it's a start. Is that a new bandana? Hardy har har. No, I washed the one that I was wearing. And it looks brand new when it's washed. Yeah. To be fair, it was getting kind of dingy. I am going to shower here in a bit, but I wanted to drop a line by Facebook real quick, see what y'alls were up to. Those of you who ordered the last batch of wands, they have been sent out. I sent them out about 2 days ago, or a day ago or so. So I'm not going to say which one, but I found a post office that's a little bit closer, which makes mailing them off a lot easier. And the reason why I don't want to say which post office I go to is because I don't want to dox myself, to be quite honest. But that's all I'm saying on that issue. So if you wish to do a review or of the product or an unboxing of it, that's cool, but I ask that you not show my address because I don't have a P.O. box. So if the wand gets lost in transit or in the mail and ends up getting returned, it'll get returned to me. And so that way, if it needs to be sent out with the next batch, then it usually does. It will get sent out, one of the two. But it literally cost me like $15 to mail just one wand, and that was international. International is a bit more expensive, but yes, CobraCraft Wands does ship internationally. Might take a shower here in a bit, and then it's not a might, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna take a shower here in a bit, and then play some Grand Theft Auto, because that sounds like fun. I don't play it very often, just so I don't, get bored of it. Of course, I can never get bored of Grand Theft Auto. The open gameplay they have on Grand Theft Auto 5 is very advanced and pretty realistic for a video game, for the most part. Not too terribly realistic. There is that video game-esque physics that only in Grand Theft Auto, right? Because when you roll your car over, you can roll it back over onto all four tires. That's a nice little feature they added on the game. So that way, if your car gets flipped over, you're not completely fucked. You don't have to get out of your car to get a new one, which is, that's a nice feature. Might play some Clock Tower of Terror, see if anybody wants to challenge me to a death match. Now, when playing my deathmatch on Grand Theft Auto 5, I've had players as high as level 6, 7, 800 playing my deathmatch. And I didn't even care that they were a higher level than me. I was just glad they gave it a chance. A lot of people, when they go to create online death matches, they make it incredibly unfair for the other person who's playing it. So if the other team gets the guns first, then your team's fucked. And that's a death match that nobody likes to play. So I tried to create a death match that was fair for both teams playing and gave both teams a competitive edge. And it was also fun to play. And I found a clock tower you can climb up next to on Grand Theft Auto 5, and I created a death match surrounding that clock tower. You know what I'm saying? I got to rename it because Tower of Terror is a Disney attraction because it surrounds the clock tower. I called it Clock Tower of Terror instead. Had to update the description on it because those were mini guns, not Gatling guns, but that was basically it. There's a bunch of vehicles in there and jumps with exploding propane tanks in between the jumps, which makes for, a little bit of fun. But I got an inspection coming up, and I'm confident I'll pass it. This is how I wrote. My toilet's fixed. It's flushable. I can leave it on without it running constantly, and that's a huge relief. I got my bike out of the shop, which is even better. Yeah. If I could get one of my electric guitars fixed, I'd be set. Ah, I appreciate that. Evan Allen says, I destroyed your tube when I got mine. Don't want you to get doxxed. I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm not scared of these trolls, but I'm more concerned about my neighbors. That's why. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't want people knowing my addresses. I don't give a shit about me. I'm more concerned about my neighbors. Like, what are these trolls gonna, you know what I'm saying? And I don't like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how far they really would go, but you know what I'm saying? These people are willing to do everything in their power to ruin your life, get girlfriends to break up with you, get you to lose your job. And it's sad, dude. Like, I'm able to get a job and a girlfriend despite having autism, and you're jealous of that, so you hate on me for it, and it's pretty sad. You know. Excuse me. And one thing I'm very particular about is if I do smoke cigarettes, I always empty the ashtrays, and they never get ridiculously full either. And I got like 3 to 4, maybe 5 things that I could do to really make this place look good, but I got plenty of time to do that, so I'm not worried about it. Now, if you live in a smaller apartment, you clean a little each day, so that way it's not, you know what I'm saying, it doesn't get overpowering, and that way it's constantly staying clean. That's just how I do it. And if you can, when you're cleaning, listen to music. Oh, look at that. I got a pipe ash on my fucking head. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. Like, nobody likes doing chores, but you throw on your favorite music, well, and listen to it on your device or whatever while you're doing chores. Yeah. That engine sounded healthy. Unusually warm for this time of year, but I'm not complaining. We may end up having a super dry winter up north, and then if because like last year, Casper winter was pretty dry, dude. We had a couple of days of snow, but not very much. It didn't seem to last. Which is unfortunately climate change at its finest. It's the combination of climate change and global warming. Global warming is caused by pollution in the air, which speeds up climate change. Climate change is a naturally occurring event. If you look at the ice ages before we had pollution, they dissolved on their own naturally over time. But pollution speeds up climate change drastically. So when people argue that no, it's climate change, no, it's this, no, it's pollution, blah blah, it's both. Okay, and I'm not asking people to switch to the gasoline cars. No, that's understandable. But if factories that produced goods switched to cleaner burning resources, it would drastically improve the environment by about 10 to 20% at very least. Because you got to think, you got the smog coming from your cars, your diesels, and then you get the smog and pollution coming from your factories. And all that combined is killing our planet, dude. And gas companies make a lot of money off of power plants that use gas instead of natural electricity. But that's the thing of it. If every power company, any company that produced any sort of good power plant, whatever you want to call it, switched to like clean burning energy, not only would it cut down on their electric bill, but it would also cut down on the effect on the environment. So if there's any company out there looking to save a couple bucks on their electric bill when they're producing mass goods, you should look into getting like solar panels and wind energy and stuff like that. Food for thought. Yep. Diana Smith. Seriously, consumers are told recycle, and while it's important, companies don't want to take blame for industrial pollution. Yeah, that is a fair point. It's like nobody likes having their hands caught in the cookie jar, is basically what you're saying. And it's the truth. But, when you make a mistake, you own up to it and you fix it. That's just how it is. That's just how I see it. I mean, there's no need for companies to be polluting our skies with toxins. There's no need for companies to be putting unnecessary added hormones to our food. You know what I'm saying? If we got it to where just cars and vehicles ran on gas and that was it, yeah, dude. A lot of companies still use like coal or, you know what I'm saying, power their plant, which is a lot cleaner. But any company that runs on gas or what have you, some sort of burning fuel, to power their shit. If we got to where only cars and trucks, basically, you know what I'm saying, just vehicles of transport only use gas, and that was it. Everything else, like generators and stuff, also using gas, like smaller, portable, yeah. But like if factories we're just using clean energy, every factory on the planet, period, I guarantee you, and imagine what that would do for the air. It would improve it a little bit. That is exactly my point, Diana Smith. It seems they don't want to fix it because they want to maximum profit, no matter the price. And it's no different with drug companies. Like, they don't care how many fucking side effects are in the pills. They don't care if it may cost you to have a physical dependency. And they don't care if it costs you an arm and a leg to buy medication because you can't afford health care. As long as Big Pharma's making money, they don't care at any costs. And, the power plant industries that do those kinds of things, it's just like Big Pharma. It's that crooked 1% attitude. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing of it, is not every rich person's a huge asshole, but the ones that are make the rest of them look bad. There's a lot of people who are rich and they do good things for our society. You know what I'm saying? But it's bullshit. That stereotypical greedy 1%er attitude. That was kind of like Donald Trump's tax cuts for him and his rich buddies, which ended up costing this country a whopping $109 trillion hole in our economy's budget plan. There you go. Well, that brings me to my next point. If you want to help make cigarette butts biodegradable, cigarette companies should switch to making their cigarette butts out of hemp. No bullshit. If the cotton and hemp can be made, you can use that hemp cotton and the hemp paper to make the paper and the cotton in your cigarettes. And using hemp to make the paper and the cotton for your cigarettes, that actually saves you a couple bucks on the assembly line, believe it or not. Not only does it make making cigarettes cheaper and more affordable, but it also cuts down on the environment. It makes cigarette butts biodegradable, so when they pile up, you don't feel like a piece of shit because they take forever to decompose. But the timber industry and the cotton industry wouldn't like that, now would they? The paper industry wouldn't like that, would they? No. It's like cutting down trees to make paper for Bibles and cigarettes, and then those cigarette butts get flipped out into the environment, and then the trees are replaced by a mound of cigarette butts. Now, can you imagine how much paper is on just one cigarette butt? The little brown paper they put around on the outside to mimic cork. Oh, did you know that cigarette butts used to be made out of cork? No bullshit. They didn't use papered filters like they do today. When cigarettes were first made, there was less additives, for one. And two, they used a cork-style filter to filter it out, not an actual, you know what I'm saying? And like, you want to talk about old school cigarettes, like the first ever cigarettes that were invented didn't have chemicals, and they used sugar and natural food flavors to sweeten it. They let it dry out in like a whiskey barrel or some shit like that, and then they shred it up and roll it into paper, and then add like a cork filter to it. And they made a machine that would, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Which is kind of cool if you didn't know that sort of thing. I think the first ever cigarette dates back to the Civil War times, I guess, when people were smoking pipes. And during the battles and stuff, their pipes would break and they constantly have to replace them because they were, back in the day, they were made out of clay and shit. Not too many pipes were made out of wood. Some of them were made out of stone. So that they needed a more convenient way to smoke their tobacco on the battlefield. And then something happened where they're like, or they decided they tried to make, I don't know, something had to have happened. You know what I'm saying? To where they just like, well, start rolling this tobacco and paper, and you know what I'm saying? Something had to have happened. And then when they discovered you could smoke tobacco on rolled paper, all of a sudden they're like, hey, this is a bit more convenient and quick than having to sit down, load a pipe, smoke it, and then risk having the enemy fire, shoot, and then having the musket ball miss you, and the musket ball ends up shattering your pipe to pieces, and you're going, whoa, hold on a second. Think they were using book pages to roll them? Honestly, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? They were probably smoking cigars too, and then they just decided, oh, what if we made the cigar smaller and use like hemp paper and a cork? See what this does. Oh, look at that. They made the first cigarette. I want to bet you that's how the first cigarette was made, using old school cork and hemp paper, because it was cheap and easy to produce. And they didn't bleach it. You know, let's just think of it. Yeah, it's getting time. Yeah, I gotta shave. It's getting to be that time. 1 second.